Dummy Switch Pod.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The boys are back. How are you, Chris?
Oh, look, we live. We live. Quarters. Good to have you here, man. Yeah, man. Look, after a good win this weekend, it's a good way to celebrate with you back in SA. So yeah, man, and the Boks did it for us.
Yeah. No, we're in studio today. We're in studio today. Undisclosed location. The Dan Carters of podcasting. Here to give you our flagrant takes and opinions, and of course, feel free to share your own church announcements. You can catch us here, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the socials, everything. Subscribe, like, and yeah, let's talk about this game because it was a heavy game. It was a heavy game. Yeah, my overview basically: strong set piece, line out scrums. It was like we were testing the systems at the highest level.
Yeah.
And then now they passed the test.
Yeah.
Just more technical things, better restarts, and the substitutions as well. I think those were great.
Yeah.
Although some slightly controversial, but we'll get into that.
Look, Quarters. At the end of the day, man, look, I know I'm starting now with the controversial substitutions part. I think at the end of the day, because I watched the post-match interview with Rassie and Sia, and you can see they were emotional about it. Like, if you watch that thing, you can see that the guys, they knew it was a sacrifice, and...
But the issue is, why is it always Sia sacrificing?
No, but he's the head boy. He's showing the leadership, and I understand the sentiment behind it, because he wasn't playing badly, but the circumstances required, for the mission at hand, because we've been saying we want 5 out of 5, and everybody knew how big this game was. And I mean, even in the build-up to it, how long it took for the team to be announced, the little mind games with Rassie's announcement or not announcement, but, previewing what he thinks the French team would be, things like that. So it was a big weekend. So we all know it was a big ask, and we did it. And like you say, the systems were tested, and definitely were tested. And so at moments, there were times where it looked, but this team has been there before. They know how to survive in the trenches, and they did, and got the result. So me, I'm happy, because that's what matters at the end of the day. It's a results business.
Yeah, I mean, if we have to start right from the beginning, it's Sia's 100th game, Rassie's 50th game in charge, although it feels like he's been there forever. And scenes. France know how to put on a show. It's a spectacle. Sia standing alone. It was it was one that
Ox wasn't.
Yeah, there was no one singing the Guijos with him. So unfortunately, but like I said, the scene was set. France, their first game, having a full squad. Although that's of their own doing. And just the backdrop to the box, Bone Fencer coming in, like you said, Ox wasn't there. Hooker was unlucky to be excluded, but Arendse is Arendse. And then we have Willemse at fullback. And I think the casuals thought we're just gonna breeze past this one, but I mean I was a bit on edge from the beginning.
Look, I agree with you. I also was. I know people say, we'll put 50 on them and whatnot, but I was more worried about defense going into this one. I wasn't so much worried about our attack. I think our attack has shown enough with the guys that we got. Sasha there at 10, doing his thing. Dialende looking very, very good, resurgent, still powerful. You got your Willemse is finding his way. You got Reina, who's, sort of in a golden period right now in his form, where he's just delivering the results, like a squad man, and he's saying, look, I've been the squad man, but I can, and he's held it down, and he has, so, but look, I knew it was going to be tough. Yes, the France will say, it's their first game, whatnot, but that's their own issues. They knew that this game was coming, like we knew this game was coming. Look, at the end of the day, you saw a bit of it maybe start of the second half where the French were getting a bit of a roll on where, it was touch and go, if you're being honest, but, like I said, they survived. They they stuck through it. The French didn't capitalize on their chances, and thereafter when the Boks, once they started going and the momentum shifted, yes, arguably then at the back end of it they could have maybe put on those 50, because there's certainly opportunities that the Boks missed as well. So yeah, but it was definitely look, it wasn't an easy game, that one. The pressure around it, you saw even with Sasha missing those kicks after starting so well. So it's those things. It's test match rugby, and it's fine margins at the end of the day, because when you look at it again, you see that definitely it's fine margins.
Yeah, just to go through points in the game, France getting the better start with Ramos exploiting blindside there, line speed, working open side, not blind side. They did good to spot that. Sometimes it's like you can be too harsh saying, they did this wrong. Sometimes you're just playing against guys that are just brilliant players. They've got that in their arsenal where they can pull that out. Ramos showed that there, Peno getting on the end of it. You can't be too harsh, although it was a mistake that they didn't press, but they found the space there. Big area of improvement. Reinach was the box kicks and the restarts. Felt he was way better there. Scrums, we got dominance right from the beginning. Although then Boan Fenter comes off when the shove was on his side. But the shove was consistently on the loose head side. Although, he can feel hard done by, but it seems like it was something that was pre-planned rather than see us getting cut short, which was not planned. But yeah, he put in a good shift. And when you look at the substitutions, it was almost, I like these kinds of substitutions because it was like when guys ran their race, they took them out. When they ran their race, they took them out. It wasn't a thing of hanging on too long and then it becomes a problem and then that guy gets exploited in a position. So yeah, and like you said, Sasha, good start, faded away in terms of kicking. I think also later in the game, what they did with him in terms of substitutions was great because the game was kind of in limbo and it was like back and forth, and there wasn't really structure. And then they moved him to fullback and he became more of an attacking threat. And you're talking big calls in taking influential players out early, taking senior players out.
Look, Coders, I'll say this is, and I've said this before. This is a regiment. This is a regiment. Everybody knows their role, and you understand they have to do what they have to do. And look, I like Mani and Sasha, that combination there at the end. How they're able to sort of put that pace on, lift the tempo. Because for me, that's like I've got that here. Is that once they got their advantage, it was really game over. Although, lucky moments, because yes, Mani came on, but the French, it seems like they had a better sort of defense strategy, trying to attack the kicking foot of the kickers, both on Sasha and on Mani. Mani just got caught. Some of the passes weren't so great.
Yeah, but that putting was him up, then they took him off.
Yeah, because he had done his job, So, but outside of that, the way that they combine, him and Sasha, how they control that back line, I think.
But wait, let me I think we're jumping the gun a bit because there was that moment of Lood, before his red card, he had a big line-out steal in the 22, an influential play. Straight after that, red card. And first watching it, mitigating factors, the guy was dropping. But at the same time, he didn't rep and he went straight for the guy's head. So, I'm not mad at the decision. It was a red. I'm not mad at the decision.
It was.
Although I will say, I thought potentially, and they did say on comms, you could hear them saying the mitigation that this guy is falling. But then they're like, no, he was always going to smash him.
Because it looked reckless.
Yes, because it looked reckless. And there's a lot of guys saying, no, but Ramos put his arm there and tried to block. This is why they don't like us online and they don't like South Africans, because it's like, it's a red card, it's a red card.
It is. Look, there is mitigation quarters. Yes, there was mitigation. There was another tackler involved. He was dropping. And they were showing that in slow motion a lot, You know, so already the picture was already imprinted in everybody's mind. But if you play it in high speed a bit, there is that argument that, you know, he was beaten by the step in terms of the body shape, you know, and with that tackler being in there. But at the end of the day, it looked reckless because there was he wasn't going with the wrap. He was just leading with the shoulder tucked. So red it is. You know, you take it on the chin because, I mean, at the end of the day, we managed to get the result, you know. So and we've been there before. I think Portugal, Italy as well, you know, where we've been down to 14 men. So look, there's not much really not much to debate about that. It was a red card. The only thing, maybe it was it permanent or was it 20 minutes? Maybe, you know, I believe maybe 20 minutes because of the whole dynamic of that tackle situation. You know, maybe not a straight red, you know. So
yeah, but all in all, like, just to cap the first half off, I think the forwards were working very well, and especially they were working close to the ball.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I feel like France missed a step, in that the forwards were all kind of around the ball, and they didn't play as expansive as they could have. But they didn't have forwards in the midfield. They didn't have forwards out wide in the trams. Yeah. They kept it in the middle, and that's where the Springboks were happy to play with them, because we can meet you physically up front. Yeah, so there was no problem there. Also, I think they had attacking intent, and they were dangerous, but they weren't dangerous to DuPont level dangerous. We weren't scared to World Cup scared. World Cup, when you're watching that game, you were scared.
Yeah, I get.
So yes, you've got those guys that are dangerous. You've got those guys that can turn a game breakers and everything. But at the same time, DuPont was a big miss for them.
Yeah.
So
we also had guys missing. We also had guys missing as well. You know?
Yeah, okay, we did. We had some guys missing, but not. We didn't have World Player of the Year missing. So that's
Ox is our number one scrummager. Yeah. You know, and I believe, yes, as much as the why the referee was he wasn't, as much as there was dominance on the loose head side, he wasn't as, you know, prone to making the call immediately, because a guy like Ox, for me, he really gets underneath the guys, and he really, you know, he puts on that shove, you know, whereas Bohan wasn't getting that dominance to show that outright picture to say, yeah, look, think about how Ox scrums. So he's our DuPont in the scrums, you know what I mean? So he was missing. So everybody was missing players and whatnot. So, but I understand, you know, we weren't as, you know, on the edge of our seats to say, because with the chances that they created, if he was there, that guy.
Yeah, if he was there, we would have been in trouble.
Maybe it's a different story, you see. So.
Yeah, going back to points in the game, Sia, it's unfortunate he had that big hit to, you know, at the end of the first half to change possession. And that was his last involvement. He didn't have a standout game, but for me, it was more of a unit when I look at the forwards. Then, if I had to say anyone had a standout game in the forwards, it was Malcolm Marx, because they needed him to go the distance, and he had, you know, big turnovers. Yeah. The lineouts, especially, you talked about dominance in the scrum. The lineouts were also, I can't remember us losing one lineout. So, yeah, Sia, unfortunately, with Nokia coming on, the only thing that I'd say is that it's unfortunate that it always seems to happen to Sia.
Yeah, okay.
It always, you know, that's the thing where it's like, yes, we won. Yeah, it was the right decision. You know, two things can happen at once. Two things can, it can still hurt little bit. It can still hurt little bit, sure. You know. Yeah. So that's the thing, unfortunately. Down to 14 men, still getting scrum dominance. That's another positive. Then we've got Colby, who for me, he made up the extra defender a lot of the time. And he was the guy that in scramble defense did some really big things. And then the big call just before 50 minutes, Etzebeth off, Dutoy off, Dialendi off, Sneeman on, Low on, Esterhazen on. And yeah, shortly after that, Willems are also off, then Lubbock off. And like I said, there was a period in that where the game was in limbo. Yeah. It was ping pong. It was, no one really had the upper hand. Again, this is where I feel like France let themselves down a bit, in that maybe they could have played for territory better. Yeah. Instead of just trying to run it up.
But quarters for me in that second half, I know like by that time those subs were made. It felt like ping pong, but that was after all the sustained pressure from France, and I feel like for me, it's you saw glimpses of it where they were bending the shape of the Boks defense in terms of how they were running, having the guys' shoulders turning inwards, and they couldn't capitalize. And for me, that is what started to break them. And then yes, there was that little bit of a lull, and the injection came from the Boks, and from there on it was just Boks all the way, because I think that came from when they had that mole try. I think that mole try, then that just got things going again, and yeah, from there, the rest, as they say, is a victory.
Yeah. Just before that, I mean, you're talking about the energy being increased. A lot of that I feel has to do with Reina going off, and then Grant Williams coming in, Lebok coming in. They felt like there was more structure. They played better patterns. It was just looking a bit more structured, which is Sasha was just having a go. It seemed like he was just having a go the whole time. And with those two coming on, it felt a bit more structured. France getting the penalty, and again, our restart is what gave us territory. It got us in their half. It got us to the mall, to the yellow card, to another mall, and then we get the job done.
The bread and butter of Bok.
Yeah, so it's again, it's good to see that we can lean on the traditional strengths, and it's not just Tony Ball, which we saw earlier in the season. And like I said, when we come into testing systems and balance and making the right decisions, it looks like they found that balance, and they found how to make the right decision in pressure cooker games, in games in New Zealand, in games in France. It's pressure testing of the highest level.
Yeah, and the guys are, they're proving that they can do it. Because I mean, one thing for sure is, defense wins you games. Defense tells you the attitude of the team, and for them to, as much as France were trying, but for them to just stick at it and be in their faces, and disrupt as much as they could, to eventually break them. I think, it just, for me, it epitomizes, what this team is about, because a lot of the times, this game was needed, and that performance was needed to underline, there's still more missions at hand, but we'll deal with them. But this, for me, like, it just proves how they're able to vary their game, go from, identifying that, okay, this is what's needed, and executing that, whereas early in the season, it didn't look like there was that clarity and stability in what they were doing, and which is understandable, but how now they just, if they need to run it, they can run it. And they need to kick, the kick chase is on, they're able to play that tempo, move the ball, because you see RG's really, his carries as well, for me, it's, when he offloads off the ground, it's ball pulls in the defenders, is able to get the ball away, things like that, where you can see it's part of trying to get that continuity, where it's that element of Tony Ball mixed in that, so it's, for me, it's working right now, but like I say, had that guy been there, the France did have their moments, and we mustn't, yes, it was a good win, and we must also take it in perspective of where they were and also where we are, as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. Also, you could see that we did catch them a bit cold, and they couldn't go the distance. But again, it's not our fault. It's not our fault. If you send a B team to New Zealand, then you can't complain. This is your first game as a full squad. So, we can only play what's in front of us. So we did catch them a bit cold, and they did die off in the end. And then it's also, I will say a lot of that has probably got to do with the hardships faced in New Zealand, even against Australia. But I mean, that's you building as a team. You building as a team, so it's that's their problem. That's not really our problem.
Not our issue, I think we just showed that our systems are working.